Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing something a little different. I've always wanted to do film analysis and review videos, but never really plucked up the courage to do them. But today I'm changing that, and hopefully it works out, and it's something I'll hopefully be able to continue doing. Today we're going to be talking about two films which are getting a lot of talk at the moment. I am aware this video is probably very late and has probably already been made, but hey, better late than never, and I have some thoughts that I haven't really seen anyone else delve into yet. So here we go. Battle of the Biopics, Bohemian Rhapsody vs Rocketman. So, I love both of these films. I saw both multiple times at the cinema, so why am I putting them against each other? I have seen a lot of talk over the internet of the two films being compared to one another. Even I was guilty of this when I first went to see Rocketman. And to be honest, you can't blame people for comparing the two films. They are of the same genre, of the same kind of topic, both coming out in less than a year of each other, and both even shared the same director, Dexter Fletcher, for 3 weeks. So which one is better, and are the comparisons fair? Let's dive in. Before we continue, here is a spoiler warning. Warning, there is spoilers. Okay, so what better way to start than at the start of the two films? Rocketman starts off with a big dance scene because that's essentially what Rocketman is. It's a musical. It could have easily been a Broadway musical but on a screen. It is very bright and colourful, and that brings us to the start of Elton's story and his childhood. Now to Bohemian Rhapsody. The film starts off with Freddie Mercury getting ready for Live Aid, a big concert where lots of big names performed at for charity. The sequence is a montage of him preparing for the show, and then it goes back to the start of his career. We never actually get to see the childhood as we do with Elton's in Rocketman. It's like Bohemian Rhapsody starts at the end of Saturday Night's Alright scene from Rocketman, and it just cuts out all of the childhood scenes we get to see and benefit from seeing in Rocketman, as we get to see his home life and his relationship with his family, as well as his love for music growing and how he got into music, more than we do in Bohemian Rhapsody. We still get to see Freddie's relationship with his family, but very briefly and not in a lot of detail that I would have liked the film to have gone into. So why do they both start in the ways they do? Well, with Rocketman, it's actually Elton telling his story through his days at rehab. And he was also the executive producer on the film, so we are literally watching the film through his perspective. So this helps the story a lot with how we actually have the main person of the story there to help the filmmakers make the story as real as it should be. Unfortunately, Freddie's not around to tell his story for Bohemian Rhapsody. Rest in peace, Freddie. During this film, it's not like we're watching it from his perspective like we are for Rocketman and Elton, but more like we're watching it as a person from the side, from a third perspective. Essentially, we are watching the film through the eyes and memories of his band members of Queen. This can be shown with how the start of Freddie's story in the film is when he first meets the two band members and continues on from there. This film is definitely a tribute to Freddie from his other band members, rather than just being a showing of his life like Rocketman is. Similarities. Even though the films are very different in their own ways, you can't deny they both share the similarities within their plots. For instance, both start out their careers travelling in a van with their bandmates, has a breakthrough in the industry when they start being themselves and wearing what they want on stage. They both have their first gay experience during a montage depicting their youthful touring days. There are a lot more similarities, but here are just some of the main ones that I noticed when rewatching the films for this video. A quiz on Vulture goes through more of these themes and is quite funny. I'll leave the link to the quiz in the description below with more sources I used for this video. So as you can see, they went through quite similar journeys within their careers and personal lives, and this could be another reason as to why the films are compared so much. But I feel like they have been shown in two completely different ways. So when you come to watch Rocketman after watching Bohemian Rhapsody, you forget the stories are quite similar as they are being told in different storytelling methods in my opinion. Which brings me on to my next point. One of the main differences between these films for me is how the stories are being told. Bohemian Rhapsody has definitely been told more traditionally, with just a straightforward telling of his life through a third perspective. It is a typical drama, and I think it tells the story of Freddie Mercury pretty well, especially since we're seeing the story from the other members of Queen. For Rocketman, on the other hand, as we've seen it from Elton's point of view and almost from inside his mind, the filmmakers could definitely play around more with that and tell his story in a more of a poetic kind of way, a way that the audience can almost view it as a fantasy in some respects. Like when we see Elton and the audience floating during his performance at the Troubadour, because that's what Elton said it felt like. It felt like in that moment he was floating. So that's why in Rocketman they can create scenes like that one, and the Rocketman scene when he floats down to the bottom of the pool and at the end flies up like a space rocket, because we are seeing it from Elton's perspective. These scenes definitely help Rocketman stand out in a particular way compared to Bohemian Rhapsody, and it also helps with the fact that not every part of the biopics is completely true. The The Rocketman audience isn't fully expecting a completely true story because of these fantasy elements from the film. Because in Bohemian Rhapsody you don't have these type of scenes and it's literally just a telling of Freddie's life, that's why when some people found out that some of the scenes weren't completely true, like the dramatised version of Freddie leaving the band to go solo, and the fact he told his fellow band members about his AIDS just before Live Aid, when in reality this didn't happen till well after Live Aid, according to the sources I've read. So this could be why these scenes didn't sit well with audiences and audiences started to question it. But with Rocketman and them adding these metaphor-like scenes, it's like they were never lying to the audience that it's not a completely true story, so the audience expects it not to be fully true and don't really question it on the level they did for Bohemian Rhapsody. It helps that we still have Elton John to work on his own film because the filmmakers were able to take more risks and get his own opinion on the things shown in the film. If a scene was questionable and the audience may not have been happy with it, Elton could have been there to clear up the problem and make a statement. So the filmmakers were really allowed full control of what they wanted to do and were able to push the boundaries a bit more. As I keep saying with Bohemian Rhapsody, it was more of a tribute to Freddie and his life, so they couldn't go too over the top with some of the scenes as Rocketman does. Rocketman is a film about Elton John's career and turning around his poor life decisions, whereas Bohemian Rhapsody is a homage to Freddie's life. Right, onto the music. As you know, in Bohemian Rhapsody they mix Rami's voice with Mark Martel's to get the voice to sound like Freddie's as much as possible. Rami himself said in an interview, "It is my hope and the hope of everyone that we hear as much Freddie as possible." Rocketman takes a different approach to the music and has the actor of Elton John, Taron Egerton himself, singing all of Elton's music, whereas Bohemian Rhapsody using Freddie's voice made the film more of a tribute to Freddie, which is what they were after. Both films take different approaches to the music which both worked well for the theme and look of each film. In conclusion, I think that both of the films are really well made and both achieve what they set out to do, whether that being a tribute to the singer or just being a fun musical showing the life of the singer. I think that both actors Rami and Taron put on incredible performances and Rami definitely deserved that Oscar, but I have a feeling that Taron won't get the same recognition for his role as Elton, which is a bit sad. Bohemian Rhapsody is a beautiful tribute and Rocketman is everything I've ever wanted from a musical. They are both very different biopics which both happen to be about musicians, so could we please stop comparing them now and just agree that they are both very good films? Good? Good. Okay, thank you so much for watching this video. This was my first ever film review, analysis, theory video, and I'd very much like to keep creating them if people enjoy them. So a comment or a like just to let me know if people actually enjoyed this video would actually mean the world to me. And maybe if the feedback from this one is good, I'll continue making them because they can only get better from here. Okay, once again, thank you for watching. Goodbye.